All right. So we changed our location a bit because it's cold outside. I don't like the cold.
It's all right.
So we're just gonna, be in here in the weightlifting section, call it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lifters room.
lifters room of MPG Fitness. All right, so we're gonna just talk about DB Hammer week 4 toleration cycle. That's what we did today. Day 1, there's only 2 days, and today was a lower body day. So we started off with sprints. Obviously, I did the regular warm-up, then we did sprints, 20-yard dash, and we had 8 total sprints.
Yeah.
So
normally I guess in the DB Hammer vernacular, there is a ratio of what he calls frequency to toleration cycle. So what we can extrapolate from that, it's his vernacular. The vernacular that I would equate it to is we talk about frequency to toleration, or we can talk about, at least in our vernacular, the way I look at it is you're going to go from, intensity and volume, if you want to look at that spectrum, or performance and deload. So we can look at that 1 week or this 1 week as a transition week. That's from Mike Tucksher RTS vernacular. In this case, we are trying to induce a little bit more overall fatigue because the drop-off percent goes from 6 to 12. I just use 5 to 10. It just, to me, that just makes more sense.
yeah, then it's going to be a lot more reps.
Right. So, or
I'm still playing a sport.
in this case with the sprints, I said, 10% drop off or up to 8. Right. She's still playing the sport. So you got to look at that. If she wasn't, if this was just straight up training, maybe we would have gone. And the crazy thing that we discovered today is, she kind of started off like I would say decently fast. 3-3-3-4, warmed up a little bit, 3-1-0, then started to slow down a little bit, 3-5-4, and then she went into 3-4s, I think, for 3 sprints. Yeah. And literally on the what is that, the 7th sprint?
The 7th
I was say the 9th
sprint.
sprint. 7th sprint, she hit a 3-2-8-8. And then on the, which she set a personal best, I believe in the 20-yard dash on that one, and then on that same one had her best 10-yard dash. And then on the very last one, 3, 4, 5, 6, but had her best fly. And again, we're using that Arena Gate skier to extrapolate that with a 20-yard sprint. I just feel that doing a 20-yard sprint and extrapolating a 10-yard run and fly, just to me, it just carries over because it's kind of that urgency, right?
Yeah.
So just from a practical standpoint for you coaches out there, but you haven't hit her best at the end, which must be a couple things. One, she needs. Sometimes some people need to get a couple of sprints in before they're actually at their peak.
Yeah.
And also, secondly, she can handle the volume, right? So she probably could have handled maybe another sprint or two. But from the 3-2-8-8 right back down to 3-4-5-6, I think our cut for the day was we kind of went off that 3-3-1-0 would have been 3-6 something. So you can imagine how many she could have done up to that point. Possibly in the 12 to 15 range. 15. Who knows? But again, we're not trying to kill her. In this case, this is a project where she's trying to get faster, but also within the context of her.
I'm playing a sport, softball.
So again, that fatigue inducement was there. So a little bit more overall volume. When we look at a deload cycle, sometimes they unload with intensity, sometimes they unload with volume. In this case, a toleration cycle is kind of exactly that, going to what you can tolerate within a bigger drop off. So in DB's reasoning, at least in the book, it talked about how you can, when you have those shorter drop offs, your work capacity is not getting as trained. In this case, our work capacity.
You put it in again, yeah.
Right. So we just put it in only for a week. In this case, we're going with I know in his it's 4-1 and 6-2. We're cutting that 6-2.5 and a 3-1. So if it kind of looks like a 3-week wave in a way with a deload cycle on the 4th week. Us, it's not really a deload because it's not really a deload in a true sense because we're still training at high intensity, but we're only going to do effectively 2 days this week, and then the rest is going to allow her to recover or whatever. Just being meathead, she's probably going to want to do stuff on her own, which she's probably going to do, which is fine. That's why we only have really 2 days programmed. Then on to the main lift. Today we use, instead of the safety bar like we have been, I use the belt squat as a tool. And again, the Squat Max MD was used there, and we did a little bit different. Again, this transition cycle, kind of going back to the foundation. For us, the foundation is going to be that neural duration part of it, which for us, it means strength. Okay, that's all it really means. So to appease the neural duration parameters, we did a 10 count ISO in the parallel position. You'll see on the video she was having, as she went up in weight.
Yeah.
But she basically worked up 10 count ISO and then finished with 5 reps. I always like, the long duration ISOs are great, but I always like to put reps at the end because you're recalibrating that movement. Like you always got to link what you're doing to what you need to do. For some, the squat exercise is going to be in there, so you don't want to dampen that response in any way. I mean, you could hold a 30 count and then just hold it there. Might as well just do a wall sit. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So in this case, the duration was about a 10 count hold and then 5 reps. Took her about between, I'd say, 15 and 20 seconds, depending how heavy it was, maybe a little bit longer. So again, like looking at that, the and 1 and the and 2 time brackets, rather, it appeased that. So we did, I think that would have been upper bound and 2.
Yeah, I think
something
so.
like that, or upper, because and 1 0 to 9, and then 9 to 25, I think is and 2, or lower bound rather, than upper bound is 25 to 40. Yeah, that makes sense. It's about a 15 second integer there. So again, what does that time duration mean? It means we are stimulating what? Energy systems. Okay.
Yeah.
Part of rejuvenating the rejuvenation or restoration or recovery process is sometimes you gotta stimulate those energy systems so they can do their job to help
replenish,
you.
Restore. Yeah.
The SRA curve, right? Stress, recovery, adaptation. In this case, we're trying to help us get to that adaptation stage, which adaptations are looking good, at least with the sprints. Today, then, we paired that with a vertical jump. She hit a best of 18.5, which means a 10% drop off would have been 1.85 inches, so roughly 2 inches. So 16.5 would have been her cut. She was able to maintain it all the way through to about a 17.5. In fact, she had a 16.8 there on the first one, which you're not going to know what your initial is till you keep going. And again, Evie hit her best 1, 2, 3 sets in, and then was able to maintain into the high to mid 17s, maybe dropping an inch there, but not bad. So she was about at that 95%. So she maintained 95% of her performance during those, what was that, 5 sets, 15 jumps, 15 max effort jumps. So there you 15, go. So a little bit of a performance cycle, but again, we could have probably kept going, but it was again, just going to
we're still not trying to annihilate,
Right.
But
and then the again on block 3 here, the oscillatory circuit, which you guys will see.
That one was, honestly, I like that a lot. That was fun. Just in a way, it was the first set I went through it. I was like, oh, this is kind of easy. Then after that, I was like, this is catching up to me.
Careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
So what we did on that, and of course I put a little timestamp on it, as I always tend to do with my programs. So we did oscillatory isometrics, and we did essentially, and it was all lower body focused. So we did glute ham, which is bilateral, and we did 2 with a single leg. We did the oscillatory isometric hip flexor drill, which is basically just a single leg sit up. You want to put it in just a basic vernacular. And then the oscillatory split squat, but her front foot was on the trampoline, which made for an interesting set because I can kind of see in live time her left leg is definitely better coordinated than her right leg, possibly because it's, I don't know, I think it's more of a coordination issue on that standpoint. But for some reason, it's just her left leg, she just jived with it better than the right. But anyways, we're oscillating in position, like a short little, I don't know, 3 to 4 inch range of motion on either end. And it was a clock with 20 seconds on, 40 seconds off. So that 1 to 2 work to rest ratio. But again, the overall density of it, she was sweating. It was kind of aerobic in the end.
It was.
So we kind of got some aerobic stimulus along with that 20 seconds, which again is going to be that touching toward that higher end of that and 2 lower bound. getting into the upper bound a little bit. But again, as those sets come and go, as they keep going along, it's more intensity to the body overall. How did you feel it? Like you said, the first set was good, was kind of easy. It's
The
like,
first set was
then,
the first set was kind of easy. Once I started doing the oscillation split squat on the trampoline, that's where I was like, crap. So then that fatigued my legs a lot. And then when I went back to the top again, back to the glute ham raise and the single leg sit-ups, I was like, okay, now I'm feeling this fatigue setting in.
Yeah, it's cumulative fatigue. So anytime you do I like that, and that's why I like doing these timestamps. And usually it more or less it's with everybody else, it's a total body. And we'll follow some guidance there from the tier system. So when you condense those rest periods more and more, or you add exercises to it, again, that aerobic effect is always getting there. And if we're looking at from a conjugate standpoint, conjugate standpoint, we want to train as many abilities as we can within a session, within a week, within a month, within X amount of months, within a year.
Because an athlete is many qualities.
Yeah, an athlete has to be good at many things. And in our case, we try to get them better as at many things we can at one time.
Yeah.
No real, a lot of people like to specialize in terms of they do this, that, and the other thing. And then I think what happens is eventually you get pigeonholed into doing those only things. And then what happens to the foundation? It just basically crumbles. So kind of going back to what this whole week is about, it's kind of hitting that foundation. Now, if we look at it from the standpoint of biomotor qualities and when you want to stimulate them, we look at, I forget who posted a chart, but training residuals, they're looking at maximal strength, or in this case, neuroduration, stimulated once every 30 days. In this case, it was on week 4, so it's every 20, and give or take 5. So give or take 5, so 25 to 35 days, I guess you'd call it. It's right within that range. Because she is a speed-starved athlete, which would be in the book that D.B. Hammer wrote. He uses that speed-starved as more of like speed deficient, but he uses that terminology.
But that's what we've been doing for 3 weeks, is the magnitude and rate days for 3 weeks. So now we're hitting back on that.
Right, which is going to be, those magnitude and rate days, keep in mind, they're very high impact as well. So when you're doing
lower impact a lot.
Right. There's a lifespan on that impact stuff, right? So you have to watch, everybody's so monitoring ground contacts and stuff like this. It's like, well, that's fine. To me, it's like you can go up to a point, you can eyeball it with auto-regulation, or you can measure it with auto-regulation. But then also, take that week to get back to your basics if you're in that boat, right?
Yeah.
If you're more in the general boat and you have younger athletes, you're probably not going to do any of this stuff. Let's be honest. But if you're looking to kind of right the ship on one particular type of biomotor quality, which for us is going to be running speed.
I need that a lot. And even you can see, I was looking back at my numbers for the dumbbell jumps. I'm getting pretty close to my max jumps, even on the first wave of dumbbell jumps. Do you know what I mean? So like on the 13 dumbbell fat bell jumps, I hit a 17.6. I hit 17.9. 18.5 was my best, but like you see how I'm such a force athlete.
So your loaded jumps are catching up to your
loaded, and that's really interesting. Even my banded jumps, I did the orange band Friday, and I caught up to my other banded jump. I think the one before, or even the week before. So it's like really interesting. The more weight or force or anything, my body likes to do that.
Soaks it up.
Soaks it up definitely. So that's how you can also tell I'm a neuroduration dominant type of person.
Which you'll make for a great lifter.
Yeah, for a great lifter,
That's why everything else is
I know, but I want to be fast too.
Well,
we're getting there. We're getting there. I'm definitely feeling
cross country.
I know, fucking cross. I always think about that. But
no offense to cross country.
No, but like just for what I want to do now, it definitely had an impact on me because I did it for 4 years.
Hindsight 2020.
Yeah. But now getting into that speed stuff, I can definitely even feel like with the wickets, I can feel that separation more with my hands and my legs.
Well, it showed in your flies because your flies actually saved your ass on a lot of the sprints.
Yeah, my flies are getting consistently a lot better.
We just got to get that
start.
That start. And he had a big start at a 1.8, and that's your best all time because you were 1.9s. Mid, low, and then into the 2.0s, I think almost a couple times. 3 times with the 2.0s.
4.
4 times with the 2 O's. Damn, that we got to get
It's
that.
my start, yeah.
Yeah, and some of it's technical, but some of it's also mental. Like
I was overthinking, yeah.
she overthinks it. Sometimes you can tell when she gets down, she's looking at, am I doing it right? Rather than when she hit that 1.8, it was just went down, go, boom. It was.
You know, it'd be interesting if we did like a different start on one of the weeks, like looking like maybe if I do a stomach start or kneeling start, like and see how that would change my sprints. Because then that's more you're just like getting up and going. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. Well,
we could do it on the drill portion of it.
The drill portion.
On the drill.
Yeah,
we would not do that as a test thing because that'll throw it completely off.
Okay.
But some of it's that, and then some of it's also like your front foot would hit and it would be flat as opposed to getting that negative shin angle. So when you hit that foot flat, that shin goes vertical. And
we're working on it though.
Yeah, well, with those box starts, I think they're helping out a lot.
Yeah.
Those like I'm having other kids do those.
I saw, yeah.
Those box starts, and some of them are running.
Carson, what is his name?
Yeah, so Carson is one of those guys who's running faster off the box.
That's so funny.
In a 20 than he did, 2 months ago, just regular. And then now I think he's hitting sub 3 second 20s, which for a sophomore basketball guy, that's not bad. It's not breaking any records or anything like that. But now he's more consistent with it.
Yeah.
But that's the key. You have to stay with. You can't. Put it this way, if you keep changing what you're doing, even on a monthly basis, speed stuff, you will never truly adapt. He's been doing the same speed set, I think, for the last 2 months. And then now it's clicking, right? So again, you have to stay variation, without the noise. Mm-hmm. Don't change anything until they start adapting. Now the key is, as this kid gains weight, whatever else, it's always a give and a take. Because you'll gain weight, you might stabilize your speed, which is fine,
or whatever,
and then we get faster again, and then you gain weight, get faster. Obviously, there's going to be it's not a big kid, at the end of the day, and by the time he's a senior, he might be 180 pounds, which is not huge at all for an athlete. But can we keep the needle moving forward on all of his other? People call them KPIs. I just call them, test exercises. As long as we can do that, and then he's playing better, and obviously he's able to take the brunt of the load on the court, not getting his ass kicked. Any type of contact sport, you got to account for that. You got to have some body armor there. So there's always a give and a take. You can always take positives from everything, even if you kind of get stuck in the ruts a little bit with stuff.
Definitely. All right. Anything else about that? We can talk more like after the next time.
Yeah.
Thursday.
Yeah.
So this one's a quicker one, but on Thursday we'll also do upper body.
Yep.
And
that'll be the workout too, and then again the rest of it'll just be, I don't know what, kind of out of my hands what she's gonna do on her own in the gym. But I would say if we're gonna do something, well, you can do the long the God, what is it called? The long duration restoration circuit would be great because it's just a low hanging fruit. It's body weight again, giving into the goals of this week is restoration.
Yeah.
So
okay, I'll keep
and
that
we'll
in
see
mind.
what happens when she comes back next cycle and breaking some more PRs, man.
All right,
little by little.
All right, cool. All right, work hard always.
Rant hard always.
All right. Okay, cool. So Thursday, day 2 of the toleration cycle, week 4. I look taller than you.
It's okay.
But anyway, we're doing the DB Hammer project, week 4 toleration cycle, day 2 upper body, and let's talk about it.
So essentially, again, I don't know if we covered the concept of the toleration cycle. We could just look at it and less DB Hammer vernacular or modern vernacular, almost like deload transition. I like to call it recalibration.
So go back to the strength.
Right. You kind of go back to the foundation of wherever you're at, and in this case, it's again, to put it in DB terminology, we're looking at neuroduration versus a mag and a rate emphasis, which is what we're in now. So if we look at that too, we kind of mentioned the residuals, which are probably more guidelines than they are anything else. So in other words, kind of like that concept, if you don't use it, you'll lose it. But it's very hard to lose strength if you're training things powerfully.
Definitely with intent.
Correct, with intent. And we're still sprinting and doing all that other stuff as well. So essentially that we basically cut down on the overall number of sessions from 4 to 2, but also the drop-offs are more, which means we'll get more overall volume within those sessions. Just allow for the
work capacity type.
yeah, to inflict a little work capacity as well as still still keeping the intensity high enough where
Yeah.
you're sprinting or lifting at hopefully 90-95% of your best, but with a different variation of the lift, or in this case the sprint was just straight up sprints. We didn't do any technical sprints with it. It was just straight up. Once we warmed up, we went boom, and kind of preserved our reserves for I think we did 8 sprints on that one day.
Yeah.
So that's 3 more than we typically do, which is 5. And if you really count the technical ones, technically it's 10.
Technically, but yeah.
But the high intense sprints, it's 5.
Yeah.
So we're adding, almost doubling the volume in a way.
Yeah. So today we did upper body, and we started off with the explosive block, we like to say.
Yeah.
With the pullover throws, and then warming up with the barbell lift. So those are 2 together, time efficient.
Right.
And yeah, you could talk about how we kind of waived the.
Yeah. So normally we would for the pullover throws, we're putting them on the radar gun you may see in the video. But essentially, we kind of profiled it. So whereas week 1 we did 15 throws with the 4-pounder, and then the next week we did 15 throws of the 6, and the following week we did 15 throws of the 8. This case we did 5, 5, and 5 at each within the workout, just to kind of reprofile it a little bit and kind of see where
we're at.
Yeah, where we're at. And again, that the shorter amount of attempts at each one. It's like the sniper has one shot mentality. So we're trying to set. Attempting to set a personal best, whether it was or it wasn't, we'd have to look back. But anyway, the intent's there, and it gives us a chance to see where, okay, is she more force dominant as a thrower, or in this throwing motion? Which for her, again, we're trying to corroborate that with, or link that to the sport of softball, as we do in conjure pit with anything. So we started with that in between the warm-up sets of bench, and then bench press. We actually used the regular barbell for once, which I know you enjoyed. But there's, again, a twist on it. We did a 10-count hold about floating the bar. And what I mean by floating, it's hovering off the chest about 1 to 2 inches. After that 10-second hold, touch the chest, come on up for 5 repetitions.
I really liked it better, like bring it down, boom.
Yeah. Well, you just, how should I say, that sort of technique is you're still incorporating the stretch reflex, even though you're kind of deadening the stretch reflex with that 10-count hold. You still want to get a little bit out there. So if we look at it a semi-long duration isometric, 10 seconds, I mean, that's a long pause. Right?
Yeah, it added up.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So it added up. So it kind of added intensity to a light load. And I think your normal, we kind of talked a little bit during the workout. You might see it in the video, what our normal 5 RM would be, or 5 rep training sets. Would be about 125. I think you worked up to 115 today.
Yeah,
and it was a mother of a set.
Yeah,
and then we backed off 10%. And she was able to continue on with 2 more sets. Probably that would have been it, because that bar slowed down quite a bit.
100%. Yeah, that was even when we dropped it off. It was like, ooh, that was hard.
Yeah, so when we dropped off from, so you worked, I think, 95, 105, 115.
Yep, and then hit
like that.
105
hit,
for
hit
2
115
sets.
kind of was like our stop, and then we dropped 10% down back to 105. And subsequently enough, those second 2 cracks at 105 were harder than the second set or the first one at 105, which was the second set in that series. So again, it's a way
more
to
volume,
but add intensity without adding load per se. We intensified things via the hold, and then so it wasn't a normal 5 reps. I mean, you're adding 10 seconds of tension in that. In the DB vernacular, I believe it would be the critical joint angle. So for us, it's just the isometric at a disadvantageous or the weakest point of leverage, which is, for us it'd be 2 inches off the chest, because the bar is on your chest. You can kind of rest it on your chest. So I wouldn't call that a true pause or a hold, because you can just,
fair enough.
Your body tissues can take the load. When you have to hold it 2 inches off, it's like, whoa, you only got so much you can do.
And another thing I liked that you said, we kind of touched on it a little bit, was making light weights feel heavy. So just like by adding that count like that, like you even said, it just felt like, I felt like I was moving 125, 135. I was like, what? Like,
Exactly.
right away
Right.
with just that 10 count before starting the set. So I
Yeah.
really enjoyed that too.
It's kind of a pre-fatigue within a set.
Pre-fatigue,
So if
yeah.
we go to a little bit of that Henneman size principle where you're trying to fatigue out the slow twitch fibers in order to hit the fast. So it was really, in my opinion, a set like that goes right in line with that, because on submaximal weights, we're feeling like and moving like a near
Maximal,
maximum
yeah,
weight.
that was like a 9, like out of
Right.
10, like 100%.
Which is the concept of the 1x20. You're doing submaximal weights for sets of 20, where the last, 4 to 6 are feeling, like 85+%. And I'm going to be writing more about that concept in my summer 1x20 program, which is soon to come out. I just got to put the finishing touches on it, but something I experimented with over this summer.
Yeah, cool. And then we paired that bench press, 10-second ISO, 5 reps with chest supported rows as well.
Same thing.
Same,
so a little push-pull,
push-pull, superset, feeling a little pump,
Yeah, a little more than probably a little.
No, yeah, definitely.
But anyways, same concept there, holding for 10 at the top, the critical joint angle. In this case, it was probably more advantageous to hold it there. But again, why we do that for her? Posture, right? We want to restore that nice extended anatomical posture, which is optimal for performance.
Yeah, definitely. All right, and then block 3 was our oscillation circuit. Once again, just like the lower body day, 20 on, 40 off.
Yeah, so this is much like we did in the other block, except we didn't intersperse the reps with it. So in the other block, I think we did 5 oscillations plus 3 and then 2 and then 1 or something like that.
Yeah.
So in this case, it was just a straight 20-second
oscillation.
And
that accumulated very quickly.
Yes, and again, the tolerance to work that for 20 seconds. Again, toleration cycle, tolerance. Touch the, probably hit that work capacity and overdrive a little bit, but also hit the reflexes probably a little bit.
Definitely,
better.
Yeah.
Right, but it's sustained. So after a while, probably with each set, each rep within each set as it goes, probably a little bit less reflexive, so it becomes a little bit more voluntary. But we're still trying to sustain the reflexive contraction as long as we can.
Yeah.
So the work capacity of reflexive contraction, essentially.
Yeah, and that was every minute on the minute with the pec fly.
So essentially a 20 on 40 off.
Yeah.
So kind of like a semi 1 to 2 work to rest ratio, which is just classic energy system modality, but within the DB Hammer sort of.
Yeah, and then we added so 3 exercises, flywheel curls, 9 minutes, all of that.
Yeah, so 9 minutes. It's a 9-minute workout.
Yeah, the whole workout was very short.
Yep.
Yeah, so it was good. Quick,
efficient. It was short, but it was intense. But it was also
high in volume as well.
Yeah, it was very. I shouldn't say intense. It was dense, and it probably seemed intense because the time constraint on it was much more. And again, we're trying to look at this week again. Stimulate, don't annihilate, and allow those adaptive reserves to come back in. So next cycle, we're basically going to do a repeat in some respects of the cycle we did before, but a number of exercises will change. Where we go a little bit, try to touch a little bit more on, how should I say, that change of direction out of a weak joint angle, and being able to be more explosive out of it. So you guys will see the changes live. Yeah,
so overall, like these past 4 weeks, I really have enjoyed them. The first 3 weeks, I'm opening up more with my stride, I feel like, with the wickets especially have helped me a lot.
Definitely your fly 10 has been
my fly 10,
biggest, and if pure speed was our goal, we've definitely improved upon that
100%.
immediately.
We still have to work more on the acceleration, like coming out of the gate.
Those 10s will come.
It'll come. But I think it's been going well. I've really enjoyed this week too, like change of pace, because I also it was like strength work. Like we were working that, getting in a little heavier weight, grinding more, and I'm a grinder and I love that type of stuff. So
and just from a psychological standpoint, knowing full well that she enjoys that, you put that back in, even though it's a speed-based program.
Yeah.
Put that back in there just so you're not taking away from, especially people who appreciate being strong, right? Especially as young as she is, who like you need that, coming from that conjugate mentality, right?
Definitely.
The classic conjugate mentality. You put that in there, just kind of like it's kind of like, okay, for 3 weeks we ate our vegetables, now we get to have some dessert, right?
Definitely, yeah.
That's the way
I
I
like
look
that.
at
Yeah,
it.
I like that
That's the way
saying. Yeah, that was
right.
good.
You got to put it in there what you like to do sometimes, because training, you know, training has to be enjoyable. I think especially for those in the
That it's their minor. Like I play softball,
exactly.
that's my game, and for other athletes,
Mm-hmm.
we need to make sure that they enjoy it as well because
Mm-hmm.
more intent, buy-in, more gains.
Right. It's not to say it's a give and a take from a coach, but every coach has to understand there's a psychological component. Like you have to have them somehow learn to enjoy it, and if they don't enjoy it,
You're not going to see as much progress.
we're not going to see as much progress. But also, it's the coach can
Engagement,
only lay out so much too, and the kids have to put in the work.
We've seen that, right?
Oh my God.
We've seen that. The
Yeah,
different.
won't mention any names, but yeah, I mean, you can't have reward without the work, right? You can't go, you have to put in the work, and
Eat your
sometimes
vegetables and eat your dessert.
yeah, sometimes it's stuff it's going to be hard to do. It's probably stuff you may be bad at, but like how much stuff that we worked in this cycle that you were bad at,
yeah,
somebody less mature would have been like, I just don't want to do this anymore. It's like, well, okay, then
you just don't want to get better.
How could we honestly get better? Because if you knew better and you were to tell me what we could do to get better, your opinion don't count because you haven't done anything.
Yeah.
Right? Let yourself be allowed to be taken through the paces. It's kind of like being a true white belt means you probably shut up and you listen and you do more, and you accept the fact that you are going to get your ass kicked most of the time. But eventually what'll happen is you'll get your ass kicked less and less, and less, and all of a sudden, like, boom, I got it.
That's been happening, yeah. Even these last few weeks, like the first week I was kind of beat up. I was like, damn, I'm not good at this.
Well, you said that, but then we also, from a coaching standpoint, contextualize it. You're still, like, this week's your World Series for your fall ball.
Yeah.
You're still playing competitive softball, even though it's fall ball.
Yeah.
But you're still, even though it's fun competition, you're still competing. Like, the stresses are still just as much as if you would be, during a regular season. And then, once we take that stressor away, who knows what's going to happen.
Next week.
So next week you're free?
Next week it's opening up a lot. We're just doing a few hours, or 8 hours per week versus 15.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so we're dropping 15 to 8 hours.
No, that's all right. And then we go into
and no competitive really, like no games.
Yeah, just probably like drills and practice.
It's going to be like hitting practices, pitchers and catchers, and that's about it.
We all know you need hitting practice.
I've been hitting every day. I hit before I came here, so.
There you go. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I should start. People have been asking. They want to see some hitting content.
I'll hit with you.
Yeah.
Because I could probably hit better.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll
see.
Who taught you? Anyways. But yeah, that's just the debrief on this week, and looking forward to seeing what the next few weeks are going to bring, and then into the winter time.
Definitely. Yeah, I can't wait till because it's only 4 weeks in. Like we want to do like 12, 16 weeks.
It's been a short training cycle. I mean, what is it? 12 or 16?
Yeah, we were saying 12 or 16, depending like how our schedules work out.
We'll see too. Yeah, we'll see what
happens. At least 12 though, like at least. But yeah, I'm excited. And then tomorrow we're doing long duration ISO circuit.
Yeah, so I'm gonna let her have some, because she's got some know-how. She's studied this a little bit. And anybody who's like less studied or less into it, I would have more rigidity in how I want things done. In this case, I had one upper body set and then one lower body set, and I'm like, why not tomorrow just condense it into ones, pick 5 that you want to do. 40 on, 20 off?
Yeah, 40 on, 20 off.
That's going to be a mother. We're definitely going to get some reaction stuff from that.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Because even just the oscillatory circuit you did, you were complaining about.
Yeah, it was tough.
Sorry, I say complaining with quotes because it's more like, holy cow.
No, yeah,
it's more like the reaction of the body.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, if you're willing to put yourself through hard stuff, at the end of the day, you get through it. Something to be proud of, folks.
Yeah, definitely. All right, cool. Anything else? Good?
No, that's it, man.
All right, awesome.
Hopefully, post any questions if you guys got it.
Yeah, all right. Work hard always.
Rant hard every day.